Well, welcome back, everyone. We're so glad you're here for another episode of the Raise Your Bars podcast. Al Rattan, along with Chris Baker. And man, you know what, Chris? I'm excited about tonight's episode.
Yeah,
I think
I'm
it's gonna
excited about
be
every episode, but
no,
yeah.
I'm excited about it. Yeah, true. I'm excited about every episode too. But I mean, this one here, I it's I mean, all of ours are positive, but this one we really want to just help build your belief in you tonight. So, if you've been listening to the past four podcast episodes, Chris and I have both read this book, Change Your Paradigm, Change Your Life by Bob Proctor, and now we've gone back and we started studying it, right? We didn't just read it and put it on the bookshelf. We read it, and now we're going through it again in a little bit more detail, and we're picking things that we're getting from the book, and we're just going to share a little bit of that with you tonight, and also throw in our thoughts.
Yeah,
And tonight we're actually talking about chapter 5 of his book. It says how your beliefs affect your paradigm. And I think that a lot of people, and if anybody knows my story, and I'm not going to go into it tonight, but the negative beliefs I had about myself affected my paradigm for a lot of years, right? And it
mhm,
limited my, I guess, boldness or my willingness or my belief in myself to actually achieve and succeed goals that I'd set out for myself. And I'm sure a lot of other people can relate to that, where you've been told something maybe in your childhood that you've now carried
yeah,
into your adulthood life that you still believe about yourself. But guess what? In most cases, especially if it's negative, if it's a negative thing that you were told, you're not smart enough, you're not pretty enough, you're going to be a loser. Guess what? It's a lie. It's a lie that you've allowed
yeah.
yourself to believe.
Yeah, and, so it is, and the belief system is something that's ingrained in our subconscious mind, right? From what we've seen, experienced, been told, or whatever in the past.
Right.
And it may have been true at the time, right? It may have. It may not have been, but it may have been true at the time. But it doesn't mean that that is always the case, right? I mean, things change, we grow, we develop.
Mhm.
I would say, without a doubt, I am not the same person I am now, or I'm not the same person I was 10 years ago that I am now.
Oh, me either.
Right? I have grown
Yeah,
tremendously in there. And
myself
therefore,
too.
if I was still under the belief system of 10 years ago, I wouldn't be where I am now.
Mhm.
Right, so our beliefs change, right? And Bob Proctor puts it in here that our belief system is based on or upon our evaluation of something. And frequently, if we reevaluate a situation, our belief about that situation will change. So again, but what I believed in 10 years ago may have been true. What I believed about myself, what I believed about my potential, what I believed about my career may have been true at that time, but it's not true now. I'm a
No.
different person. So,
Yes, and exactly. It may
mm,
not be true now, but he also says in the book here, believe, and your belief will create the fact, right? What we then
correct.
believe to be true about ourselves. So again, if Chris focused on the person he was 10 years ago, then you know what? If you still believed like Chris 10 years younger did, you may have not met Vicky. You may have not succeeded in your career like you have. You may not be with the Maxwell leadership team. You may
Right.
not get this certified because you didn't believe you deserved it, possibly
Yeah.
10 years ago.
Yeah.
And I think if anybody's ever watched the Think and Grow Rich movie, which is fantastic. If you haven't watched it, watch it. But actually, there's a scene that plays out in there where Thomas Edison brings home a note to his mother when he's a child. And in the note, she reads it and then she closes it again and she says to her son, "Oh, you're too smart for all the teachers. They can't teach you anything else, so I'm going to homeschool you now."
Mhm.
And then they flash forward in his life. Of course, we all know who Thomas and Edison came to be, because his mother put this belief in him that he was smart and intelligent and could accomplish things and to do great things.
Yeah.
And decades later, he's an old man and he's going through old boxes from his mother. His mother's passed away. And he sees that letter that the school wrote his mom, and he opens it up and he reads it. And it said that he was too dumb to learn anything and that they didn't want him back at the school.
Mhm.
Imagine a world. I mean, someone else would have invented the light bulb, or, I guess someone
Yeah,
did invent the light bulb, but
yeah,
he perfected it, right? But think of a world without the impact of a Thomas Edison in it.
mhm,
If his mother had read that note and said, "Oh, yeah, you're a stupid kid, go play," we would not know his name today. But
yeah,
because his mother had belief in him, believed that he could be more than what the teachers were saying he could be, instilled that belief in him, we all know who Thomas Edison is. And
exactly.
it goes same thing for you, right?
Yeah,
Same thing for you.
yeah,
Don't let somebody's negative comment about your past become your fact about your life.
exactly. It doesn't define you, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, it's very interesting, and as as humans, we are born with a belief system. We're born with that imagination and with that creativity and believing everything that's possible. You only have to look at kids to see that,
Right.
right? And then when the kids get to like 9, 10, 11, seems to be getting younger and younger now, but when they get in those ages, we are adults are the ones that instill that fear into them and tell them not to do something, and or tell them that they're not bright enough, right?
Right.
Or that they're on the spectrum because they're special.
Mhm.
Well, that's it's wrong, right? It's
Yeah.
wrong. And
Yeah.
what we're doing
Yeah.
is we're stifling this creative talent, and we have to stop doing it, because if we it's perception, right? People Perception is reality in the eye of the beholder. So if we believe something is true, our perception is it's true, and therefore it's true,
Mhm.
right? And if somebody believes that this is the best I can ever be, I'm never going to amount to anything more, I better settle for what I've got, then that's true. And that's
Yeah.
what they'll get,
Yeah.
right?
I've actually always tried to be supportive of my kids, saying they could do anything they wanted to do, but there's probably times, if I really think about it, there's probably times where I said, "Well, I don't know if that's really something,
Yeah,
you know,
right. Yeah,
that you could accomplish." And for that, I don't hold regret about it because both my kids are, I think, are very well adjusted and doing well in life. But um, yeah, I want to be that, like, and Chris, this of me too. I want to, and this is sort of one of my business mantras, is to be an encourager of others. When we talk
yep,
about, what do you want to be said about you at your funeral? If people said, "You know what? I left Al's presence feeling encouraged and uplifted," then you know what? I've completed my mission on this planet.
yeah. Here's the interesting thing though, Al, and we both catch each other at times and sort of call each other out, right?
You more than me. You
We
catch me more than me.
well,
You catch
we will try and uplift and encourage other people more than we do ourselves.
Yeah,
And we'll
100%.
see the good and the ability and the potential in other people more than we do ourselves.
Yep,
And
you're
and I
right.
think that's a natural reaction, and there's some
Mhm.
of the things that you and I don't really say it so much now because I caught it, but sometimes you say things to yourself that I know you would never say to somebody else.
Yep. Yeah,
All right. And
absolutely.
I think and I used to be the same for sure.
Mhm, mhm.
All right. But you
Well, that
and
extra year of maturity you have on me, my friend, is
at
different.
least it's more than a year, I think. But yes,
Not much more, but
it's but the saying about be the person you want to become just
right.
keeps coming back to me, right? And that's who it is. I am now really making that conscious effort to live as the person that I want to be, right? To
Mhm.
be that person now. And for the longest time, I didn't understand that. I was like, well, how do I do that? Right? I would keep asking how. And I had to really let go of the how. And Drew would do that when we were doing Think and Grow Rich and all
Yeah,
those studies afterwards. He would say, let go of the how.
yeah.
I can't. I need to know how. Right.
Right, right,
And
yeah.
that was the C of me coming out, right? And whatever you now, it's just like it doesn't matter. Right. I'll be that person. I'm at peace with myself. I'm at peace with the universe. When other people like upset me, I sort of welcome it, embrace it,
Mhm.
release it, let it go,
Yeah,
and move
yeah.
on, right? Um, but it takes persistence right? Which is what we learned in Think and Grow Rich. It takes determination, it takes desire, it takes the understanding of who you want to be,
And I
right?
think it
So
also takes having those people in your life that you can go to and saying, "Hey, I'm having a bad day. I need to be uplifted and encouraged today," like your spouse, right? Like
right.
a valued friend,
Yeah.
like a mentor or a coach in your life who can
Yeah.
lift you up because we're all gonna have bad days.
Yeah.
It's just sometimes we tend to wallow in or sit in
Oh, we
that
do.
bad day,
Yeah. Yeah.
longer than we should.
Yeah. Yeah.
So Bob talks in the book here. He goes, he says, it's him talking. I went from thinking that I didn't have anything going for me, that I was a useless character, and I let my past dictate my future,
Mm,
to deciding that would have to change. And that's
yeah.
what we want to leave. Well, we're not leaving the podcast yet, but leave with you this week, folks, is and encourage you with is don't let that past dictate who you are today or who you're going to become.
Yeah. Yeah. I think you have to spend time reflecting and reevaluating, right? That past for sure. You can't just ignore it.
No,
It's happened, right? But what happened? Why did it happen? What was your part in that? Was there something that you could have done? And this goes for whether it was successful, whether it was not successful, right? It's
right.
important to evaluate both, right? So the success is,
100%,
how
yeah.
did I contribute to that? How can I replicate that and make sure that I do that and live that every day in that way? And the things that didn't go wrong, again, was it something that was in my control? If it wasn't, let it go. If it was, okay, well, what could I have done different? How can I learn from that? And how can I move forward in the direction that I want to go?
Right.
And part of that we've talked countless times about finding your purpose and your why and so on, right? And I still, there's a lot of people that still don't really know what their purpose is, you know. And
True.
I was talking with a mentee today, and I was like, what do you love to do? All right. What are the things that when you do it, you just get lost in time and you could do it all day and just like have a wonderful time, right? And get that fulfilled feeling. And then what is it about those things? That's what you got to look at. What is it about that that gives me that feeling? And
Right.
then the other side of it is looking at what sort of things upset you, what sort of things make you sad, and why do they make you sad? And then look and see if there's a correlation. And then what you want to do is say, well, how can I get that happy, um, excuse me, excited, fulfilling feeling every day
Right.
in what I do for a living. Oh, and
Mhm.
earn some money at the same time, right? But if you live in that purposeful life, you will earn money.
Yeah. Yeah. And I don't think it really matters what you're doing for your job, as long as you find fulfillment in that job and that you
Right.
haven't just settled and are coasting because
Yeah.
because you haven't dreamed big enough or something,
Yeah.
right? So now Bob talks about again changing this paradigm, changing the mindset again against those negative things that we've allowed to become our reality, those negative things that have happened to us in the past that we haven't moved past yet or let go of yet. He talks about it's repetition of hearing an idea that will change your belief system. When you keep listening to a recording telling you how good you are, and then backing that up with all kinds of evidence of why you're that good,
Hmm.
and you listen to that over and over, you're going to start believing it.
Yep. Yeah.
We need to
Again, it's
change that recording that's playing back in our mind. And mine was that I
right.
wasn't good enough. I wasn't smart enough, that I was ugly. That was the recording that came to mind
Yeah.
every time
Yeah.
I had a bad day, something didn't go my way, didn't make that sale, got in a fight with my wife. That was the recording that played in my mind. I needed to change that recording.
Hmm. Yeah. And that could be that's you know, you're recording in your own mind, but it's also the people that are around you as well. Right. So if you're in an environment where people around you are doing things that really are not productive, right, that are holding them back, then you need to break away from that.
Yeah.
Because if you are in that environment, you will become the average of those people, like Jim Rohn says, right? So you need
Yeah.
to get away from that. It doesn't mean that you don't ever talk to those people again. It just means that you pick and choose when you're with those people,
Mhm.
right? And don't put yourself in a situation that's going to drag you down. You want to put yourself in a situation that's going to lift you up.
Mhm.
You know, when John talks about don't be the smartest person in the room, if you are, you're in the wrong room, right? Now,
You've stopped growing if you are.
correct. Now, I will counter that and say there are times when you probably will be and should be because you want to lift up other people, right? So you
Right.
want to be bringing those people up. Although I would sort of question, like, just because you're helping lift them up and you're teaching them, it doesn't mean you're smarter than them, right? So
Right.
they're
Yes.
probably as smart, if not smarter than you. So
Yeah.
you know, it doesn't always go. But you will be learning, you'll be growing, and that's why I love what I do now because I learn and I grow as I work, right? So I'm helping
Yes.
others learn and grow, and I'm
Yeah.
learning and growing.
Yeah.
And I think that you know our conversations are elevating because of that, right?
Mhm.
And because of the work that you're doing. It's not just me. You're doing a lot of work with different companies and disc workshops and
Yes, I know.
even
That's
your
fine.
new job and so on, right? That's that power of the mastermind that we learned what 7 8 years ago, right? And we're doing that next weekend, no, next month in three weekends in Toronto, where we're
Right.
coming together, you, me, and Giroux, to basically mastermind as to how can we help even more people?
Yeah.
How can we get that message across?
And that's another great thing, like all of this stuff that we talk
Mm.
about on these podcasts and in these books and even from this book, it takes effort, it takes an investment of time or resources on your part in order to bring about this change, bring about
Mhm.
the change in belief, to help you grow to become the person you're meant to be, to help you to live out your fullest potential. And that's one thing that, Chris and I aren't afraid to do. We're investing our time and money and away from our families and hiring our coach to come in for a day to work with us so we can be more effective,
Yeah,
right? It takes effort.
yeah.
And again, so many people I've come across in my life where, hey, do you know what you're supposed to be doing? And they have no idea. They have not found their why, they don't know their purpose, whatever you want to call it, and they're drifting through life, and
Right.
they're allowing, again, maybe it's this is all I can ever be has become their recording,
Yeah.
but they're missing out on their true potential.
Right. Right.
Not everybody. Some.
No, and let's be fair. You know, not everybody will want to. And here's a big learning that I've had, right, Ally. When I first started the personal growth journey, right, in 2016, 17, and you know, I started with the Simon Sinek Find You Why in the Golden Circle, and then was the Maxwell team, and then in 2018 doing DISC. And I was very like headstrong at the time that listen, you have to be growing, you have to have a passion, you have to be looking towards this. And if you're not, then you know, you're dumb, right? Because you don't
Yeah.
know any better. Only dumb people are happy. And I look back at that now and I think, well, what an idiot I was, right? That's not true at all. Right? Some people don't want to do that, right? Some people are perfectly happy living the life they are, and God
Yeah.
bless them. That is perfectly
Absolutely. Yeah.
okay. And anybody that I offended at the time and upset, I apologize because you know I was wrong, right? And in itself is the awareness that I understand that I was wrong there and I changed it.
Right.
And what we're talking about is the people that will want to go on a growth journey, the people that will want to keep pursuing excellence, that will want to pursuing continuous improvement, that want to find their purpose and to give back and to do that. You're talking about less than 5% of the population, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
If that.
Yeah.
So 95% are not, and that's okay, right? That's okay. But if you want to be one of the 5%, or if you are one of the 5% and you want to keep growing, we're here to help you,
Absolutely.
right?
At the end of the day, here's what we want you to, and we'll end with this line from Bob, and then Chris, if you want to say a last few words. But You've got to get to the point where you believe that there's something absolutely magnificent about you.
Yeah.
You are magnificent.
Yeah.
You are perfect in your in what you're supposed to be doing.
Mm.
You just need to, again, but if you have that dream, then go explore that dream and become that magnificent you.
Yeah. And identify what is your superpower, right?
Mhm.
Um, we're not talking about flying or anything, being invisible or whatever, right? Although plenty of people are invisible, but they just don't know it. But
Yes.
what is your superpower, right? And how can you use that to 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 maintain or to find or maintain your happiness, right? Because that's ultimately what we all want. We want that pursuit of happiness, and that is different for each of us, and that's okay.
Right.
But what's your happiness, right? And what are you going to do to live that life of happiness starting today?
Amazing. Well, again, we've done 21 minutes here, so we're going to let you all go. Thanks for tuning in. Go to raiseyourbars.com. If you are a business owner, if you are looking to expand your business, to grow your business, if you've gotten frustrated with your business, go to raiseyourbars.com today. Watch our webinar, book an appointment with us, get on a call with us to see how we can help you in your business. Thanks for tuning in, everyone.